Hello, we are live. We are live. Just wait a few moments to some people to hop on. I know everybody's kind of going through the motions right now. So, welcome, welcome whenever you join. I'm just cleansing the energy. So, interesting thing happened this evening. I had my whole notes and everything written out about what I was going to talk about in this webinar, and Spirit kind of stopped me dead in my tracks and said, I have some channeled messages that I want you to get out to the collective. So I sat down, started writing, and I'm going to share these tips with you. They're still very practical, very useful, but it definitely was not what I planned to talk about this evening. But I always think that's exciting because, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. So it's not always about what our plan is, but we definitely have to stay connected to spirit, especially now as we're going through these changing times. So I am going to go and close this door because my son is not asleep. Many of you have your children home right now, so give me just a moment. And just while I'm walking over there, let me show you this. I bought this for my son. I don't know if you can see that. It's a toddler swing. That has been a godsend because he's been so bored. But now that we've got that toddler swing in here, he just swings back and forth, and I'm working and with my clients and doing my thing. So it's working so far. But hold on just 1 second. Okay. So yes, if you have children at home that are 3 and under, that's a great investment. But anyways, like I said, my name is Nefertiti, and I have a lot of channeled messages for you this evening. Again, this is not what I intentionally wanted to or planned to talk about, but we have to follow the guidance that we get. And I just got a bunch of downloads and messages coming in like a couple of hours ago. So I'm going to share those with you now. So let's get right into it. And just to give you a little bit of background, we've been dealing with some crazy times. As many of you know, I live in the Bay Area where we are currently on a shelter-in-place order, which means that we can only go to the store or to like get gas or do laundry, or exercise. Like I live close to Lake Merritt, so I can walk the lake if I want to. We just have to practice social distancing. So it's been a little interesting. I live in the city, and it's been weird just not hearing all of the cars and, the people, and crazy times we're living in. But we have been hearing about 2020 since 2012. I know I have. And now that it's here, it's kind of like, oh shit, right? We're starting to see all of the things we've been hearing about, the upheavals, the adjustments that are being made in the collective. And if you have been watching my videos, I talk a lot about the astrology and how things are playing out in the collective. We have Saturn getting ready to move into Aquarius. And this is about innovation, doing things differently. Saturn will structure time, discipline. And we've got some interesting energies going into the summer as well, when Saturn retrogrades back into Capricorn right in the middle of eclipse season. So let's get ready for another round of making adjustments, shifts, learning how to navigate this new reality. And in order for us to manifest a new reality, the old has to go. And because we live in a virtual reality that is based on time, the shifts are going to take time, right? We're going to have ups and downs, ebbs and flows, where things are going out, things are coming in. This isn't going to be an easy transition. A lot of people are predicting a recession, and I tend to I try not to pay too much attention to the negative news. However, we're not spending any money. We're not making any money, as I said in my energy update. So some type of financial reversal is inevitable. So these are some of the things that we as a people, as a collective, are concerned about, definitely. But then we have the challenges that are being presented in our personal lives as a result of the shifts, i.e., the children not being at school. We're not able to, go to work. I work from home majority of the time, but I do contract at gyms, when I teach. So I'm being affected in that way. And a lot of people are not really able to handle their children being at home. I mean, especially living in the city, the reality is there are children here that depend on school food, breakfast and lunch to eat every day. So that's definitely been a challenge here. But, drop a line, drop a comment. How are you guys dealing with this? I mean, it's been very interesting to see. But I have not been afraid. That's the weird thing, because I knew that this time was coming. I knew that something was going to happen to trigger the shift in the collective, because we've got so much energy here. So many light workers coming out of the woodwork, so many teachers talking about this subject now. I mean, over the past 5 years, we've seen an exponential leap in the metaphysical community, and our ability to be heard and to create content that is not only inspiring us, preaching to the choir, but other people are starting to gravitate towards this material, because what they have known to be the world as they knew it is no longer in existence. I mean, as of last week, everything has changed. And so people are looking for answers. And I feel like now is the time for us as light warriors to step up to the plate, to really own our talents, gifts, and abilities, and share them with the world, whatever messages we're getting. It's time for us to really speak up and be heard, because people are going to need our help. And it's going to be different for everybody. We take care of our part of the garden, right? Some people's gardens are bigger than others, but everybody's part is important. So let's get into the messages, deeper into the messages. So like I mentioned, crazy times. My spirit team has talked a lot about protection, the need for protection on all levels, mental protection, spiritual protection, especially spiritual protection. So making sure that you are cleansing yourself, balancing your chakras. That's one way of allowing your spiritual practice to protect you. Because if you are vibrating at a certain level, then certain experiences, you're just not going to have them, because you're not on that frequency. Now, that is generally speaking, because there are certain things that we have to learn in certain ways. And I've talked about that before. But protection with crystals, protection with whatever it is that you like to use for self-defense, right? So maybe you have a gun. Maybe you should think about getting one. And again, this is not about promoting fear, but we live in a reality where there are varying frequencies. And this is only the beginning of the shifts and changes that are going to occur in the collective. And it's going to be interesting to see how everybody responds. So we just need to be ready either way. That I'll leave that there. Also, they mentioned, my spirit team, the importance of us gaining more knowledge about finance, budgeting, planning. And since most of us anyway, are not able to go to work right now, or we're having to make adjustments in our schedule, now is the time for us to educate ourselves on these things, learning about the stock market, learning about creative ways to save money, to maybe cut back on some certain resources. Some of us have been forced to do that over the past couple of days, just because we are now at home with our children, not able to go to work for at least 3 weeks, maybe longer. So again, it's easier if we decide consciously to make the changes as opposed to the universe creating circumstances where we are forced to do it, right? And collectively, this needed to happen. A lot of people were living in la la land, like, oh, we're exempt from any type of, situations happening here in the United States. We're untouchable. No, we're not. Okay. The universe knows exactly what we need to get us to shift. And this is happening on a global scale, right? So again, going back to what I was talking about, gaining more knowledge about finance, budgeting. I mean, there's tons out there that you can use, but learn about money, learn about how to invest and how to save according to your lifestyle and what you're able to do. And then practice being consistent. A lot of us now are really worried about what's going to happen, financially in the next couple of weeks. Some people are, excuse my French, totally fucked. But this is a good opportunity because now you're starting from ground zero. You're starting from the beginning, and the universe will never put more on you than you can bear. So you can ask, okay, my spirit team, I know you're with me. I don't know what I'm going to do. I basically have nothing saved. I am not really sure when we're going back to work. Please help me. And they will come in, they will provide you with some clues, some assistance, some guidance, and you trust that guidance, you follow it consistently. Saving money is not an easy thing to do. That's why a lot of people are broke in this country and in credit card debt, because they don't save money, because it's challenging. It requires self-discipline. And if you're disciplined in one area of your life, chances are you're going to be disciplined in most, if not all areas of your life to the best of your ability. So you see how it's all connected. Okay, this is coming from my spirit team. You can't really piecemeal your life like that. Saturn, again, a big player in this energy of this coronavirus and the things going on. Saturn and Pluto, when they come together, they're like the gangsters of the zodiac. Okay, they're kicking the door in. They're going through all of the shit, and they are deciding what they're going to take and what you get to keep. So with this opportunity for us now to restructure our lives, what can you do differently going forward in regards to your finances and your money and your resources? Because Pluto and Saturn and Capricorn are about resources. Daily habits, my spirit team told me, is also a huge focus, because this is the key to your success. So a lot of people's daily lives right now have been just completely shattered, shaken up. Nothing is the way that it was last week, right? So we have an opportunity now to create better habits. You're not going to work. What can you do right now to set yourself up for? Do you need to start practicing getting up earlier? Even though you're not going to work right now or whatever you've got going on, can you start practicing these good habits so that by the time things start rolling, you're already on the right foot, right? So practice prepping your meals, eating breakfast, staying hydrated, right? Eating on time. Maybe these are some things that you let slip. We're dealing with very practical energy here when it comes to the astrology, especially. But I really feel like the universe, the cosmos, is providing everyone with an opportunity to get more practical at this time. And I feel like with the Virgo full moon that we just had, that was kind of a gateway, a portal opening, if you will, for us to really walk into this energy of what I call spiritual practicality, which is the theme, the foundation of my business, of my coaching practice, right? So what are you willing to do? What are you willing to do to create a more successful, prosperous, joyous, aligned life. You have a pretty much a clean slate right now, at least for the next 3 weeks. Yes, your children may be at home, but they're your kids. They're going to always be somewhere where you are at some point. So don't use that as an excuse. I certainly don't. I mean, I'm getting up at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning to make sure that I get my most important tasks done before my son gets up. And then I have the day to do whatever else I need to do. Yes, I still have to work here and there, but I make sure that I get up and do the most important things that I know need to get done, that I know I need to do without being disturbed, so that I can have the rest of my day to kind of flow and spend time with him. So it's different for everyone, but are you willing to get up a little bit earlier? Are you willing to plan your day so that you have time to spend with your children? A lot of us are having to homeschool our kids right now. This is very challenging, but it must be done. That's Saturn. Saturn is like, it doesn't matter if it's hard, it must be done. So again, cutting through those limiting beliefs. That's another tip, message that my spirit team channeled, was limiting beliefs are no longer going to be sustainable in this energy, right? We're no longer allowed to hide from ourselves with our excuses and why we can't do what it is that our spirit team is asking us to do, what we've been guided to do, what the universe is presenting us with all as a collective, with this opportunity to really build. It's here. We have the foundation now. Yes, things are crazy and they're going to continue to be crazy for a while. But as long as we are grounded in our daily routines, these new routines that we create for ourselves, then we'll be okay no matter what's going on around us. So what are you willing to do? I love the quote, and I actually put it on my altar. It was channeled to me, I don't know, like 2 months ago. To be stubborn about my goals, but flexible in my approach. So I have a list of things that I like to do every single day. Every single day. Some of these things are practical. Some of these things are more mental, but I have this list so I don't miss anything. And I'm flexible about it. I have 24 hours to get everything that I need to get done on this list done and complete. And these are personal things. Some of these things are, things I need to do around the house or things I need to do for my business. Personal development is a huge, huge majority of that list. Excuse me. So again, working harder on myself than I do on my job. I feel like that's another theme behind this whole coronavirus world shutdown thing, is the universe bringing us back to the remembrance that we are the most important thing in our lives. And when I say we, I mean our spiritual selves, the part of us that came here with all of our previous knowledge and with the openness to learn and not get caught up in the duality. But again, when we're going through that birth canal, we forget and we get caught up, but that's a part of the lesson. Excuse me 1 second. Okay, I left my water over there, so let me just get a sip. Okay, again, being stubborn about your goals, but flexible in your approach. Another thing that my spirit team said would be very important during this time is our divination practices. So the things that we use during our spiritual work. Maybe you work with tarot cards, and I've actually got 2 decks right here that I think Spirit is going to have me pull from in a few moments. But working with your crystals, your sage, your candle magic, all of these things are What help us to stay connected? Do we need these things? No, of course, we're always connected to spirit, but it's helpful for us as human beings to have something to kind of sink our teeth into, to have something to touch, to hold, to have substance with, right? So working with these tools is going to help you to have a better connection to your spirit team. So whatever resonates with you. Some people like to have deities on their altar and ancestor altars and all of those things. And you can do all of that. It's not necessary, but you can do all of that. And divination, like I said, that's important right now. One other thing they said is we must find a way to work through pain because it cannot come with us in this new cycle. And with the pain that they're referring to is the pain from the old cycles. Because we usually, there's that saying, we don't remember people's names, but we remember how they made us feel. And that is how it is with events and circumstances that have occurred in our life. We might not remember all of the details, but we remember how we felt, right? A lot of times, I think our subconscious mind shuts out the details because they're very traumatic, but the feelings are still there. And so Spirit is telling us that it's time for us to work through these old emotions, because all they're going to do is continue to attract more experiences to us that are going to keep us in that lower frequency. Let me get a drink really quick. Excuse me. So find a way to work through your pain. And this is, again, different for everybody. Maybe it's time for you to go get counseling. Maybe you do need to go get some past life regression work or some crystal healing. Maybe it's time for you to practice good nutrition, which is so underrated. Nutrition therapy, and you hear me say this all the time, practicing good nutrition, because it is a practice. Think about it. You're eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 4, 5, 6, 7 meals a day. That's something that you're practicing every day. So you have to be conscious of it, of what it is that you're putting in your body in order for you to be successful at any type of diet. And I don't usually use that word. I prefer nourishment, nutrition, healthy eating, lifestyle, nutritional choices. So again, finding an approach that's right for you, something that you can practice consistently, and it'll take time for you to make adjustments. You'll go back and forth between your old way of eating and your new way of eating before you really kind of get fully on track. So give yourself that time, be patient with yourself, be gentle with yourself. But that's another thing that Spirit mentioned, was really paying attention to what we put into our bodies and caring for our physical vessels. And referring back to this coronavirus, the people that are more susceptible to the severity of it, i.e. dying from it, are people that are either older, so over 65, and people that already suffer from some sort of chronic disease or illness like diabetes or heart disease or even high blood pressure, they're saying now. So this is even more incentive for us to get healthy, especially since they're predicting that everybody is going to be exposed to the virus by 2021. So now is the time for you to start taking care of yourself. Start today, start tomorrow, drinking more water, eating well, especially now because we have an opportunity to food prep. Most of us are at home, so you can pay more attention to your nutrition. So again, this is how Spirit is telling us to use this time. Psychic development is another biggie that Spirit said is going to be highly beneficial for us to engage in during this period. So as we progress into this year, these senses, clairsentient, clairaudience, clairvoyance, etc., they're all going to become more mainstream. Again, because people are starting to see the illusion and understanding that okay, there's more to this. And it's okay for me to trust myself. I can't trust them, obviously. I'm getting all kinds of misinformation. So I need to start trusting myself. And that's where it begins. That's where psychic development begins. The moment you decide, I'm going to trust myself, then the doors start opening for you to develop your intuition even more, to go deeper within yourself. So, hello. So again, psychic development, you can use crystals, walking in nature. What nature walks are great for psychic development, as well as meditation near water or taking spiritual baths. You can even do psychic meditations. So meditations that specifically open and stimulate your third eye, but just be careful. Make sure that you are grounding yourself after practices like that. Whenever you're working with the upper chakras, you want to make sure that you ground yourself. Really, after any type of spiritual work or divination work, it's just a good practice to do some grounding and to cleanse yourself, to make sure that you don't have any attachments and that you're not still kind of floating and not attached and ready to live in this reality, because we're still here, right? Practicing what you preach. There's no room for any more pretenders. So this was a very strong message. When I heard this intuitively, it made me just think of all of the circumstances that have been created or revealed as a result of what's going on with this coronavirus. So maybe somebody was already living paycheck to paycheck and they worked in the hospitality industry, which a lot of people in the hospitality industry got laid off yesterday and today. So these were people that were already in dire financial straits. So they go to work and find out that they cannot come back, that they're being quarantined, that their city's being quarantined and their children can't go to school. Okay, 3 weeks. The next day they get a phone call that they're laid off and there's no updates or anything as to when we're going to come back. So now we're really scared because we didn't have any money to begin with. And now we don't know where any money is coming in. Like, we don't know when it's coming in. And it's situations like this where life is here to support you, because I feel like if you are even in that kind of situation, that there's a way out. There's always a solution. It's usually something you don't want to do. You've got to call and ask somebody for help. You got to do something that you don't want to do, swallow your pride, but there is a way out. But I feel like the universe is bringing a lot of people to that point right now in some way, shape, or form, where you have to face the reality that you created so that you can clean it up. It's not about punishment or the universe judging us or anything like that. We're human beings and we are meant to experience a variety of things to learn lessons. But in order for us to move to the next level, we have to address certain things and heal certain things, transmute certain things, right? So practicing what you preach, walking your talk. And I don't want to offend anyone when I say this. So I'm going to try to be really, really careful. But as many of you know, I've been in the fitness industry for many, many years. And it really confuses me when I see a trainer or an instructor that is out of shape. You're obviously not walking your talk. I mean, you're not. And it's not about discrimination or being mean or making fun of anyone or anything like that. But it's kind of like, how are you going to motivate and inspire anybody when we can look at you, first of all, and tell that you are not practicing what you preach. And I feel like energetically, people are going to be able to tell that this person's a phony, they're a fraud. And we all do the best that we can. We're not always on point. We're not always 100%. Especially, as coaches, we get down on ourselves sometimes because we should know better, right? But we're human beings. But I mean, people should be able to come into your presence and feel that you've done the work. They may not be able to articulate it. They may not be ready to receive from you, but they know when they're in your presence that you have done the work on yourself, and they have to respect that. So, moving on. Spirit also said that we will become what we think about all day long. So use this time wisely. So I feel like this is not, when Spirit channeled this to me, it was about us not being overwhelmed by our current circumstances, because things are shifting and moving. With manifestation, things start to shift and move. Sometimes they move in a direction that we are not expecting, but there's movement nonetheless. So this is a good thing, but we shouldn't dwell on any of the negativity, the self-reproach, beating ourselves up, because we've only done the best that we can with the understanding, awareness, and knowledge that we have. So all we can do is keep moving forward and think positive thoughts. Think, okay, I'm going to make it. I have the tools that I need. This is going to be challenging, but I can handle it. My spirit team is with me. All I have to do is ask them for help. All I have to do is ask them for help. I get through my emotional drama. I allow myself time for a breakdown, for emotional release, because this is hard. What a lot of people are going through is hard. Okay. And this is also providing a lot of deep emotional release for people as well, if they've been suppressing things. So it's all good, right? It's not all good, but it's all good. Another message that Spirit sent or channeled to me was that not everybody will make it through this time frame, unfortunately. And death is very misunderstood. We, of course, have our emotions around death and people passing and moving on to another incarnation, another form of energy, because that's all that's happening, because we're not able to physically see them anymore and connect with them in that way. But Spirit has told me that this is a part of the bigger plan, that people are going to make a choice to check out of this life. And from what I understand, when we encounter a moment of death, that we can make a decision as to whether or not we're going to depart at that time. I don't know how true this is. None of us do, but I've read stories, and it just resonates with me that, we have free will in this life. Why wouldn't we have free will as to when we are at that moment of crossing over? Is it time for me to cross over? Do I feel like I've learned all of my lessons, or do I stay? And it's hard for us that are left behind to understand that. I mean, I've suffered loss. I lost my mother, many of y'all know, and I, lost a boyfriend in high school. So I know what it's like to lose people that are close to you. And I also know that we never really die, that energy always exists, but that's after the grieving, of course. Another thing that they mentioned was to keep more plants, buy more plants and keep them in your home, because the plants are green and they connect with that heart chakra energy. And they also provide you with a physical example of the life cycle, right? Birth, life, death, and then rebirth, right? Or transformation and rebirth. And plants are just plants. They can't be anything but what they are. So it's a reminder to us to be nothing but what we are, right? Spiritual beings having a human experience, knowing that, yes, we have negative events, challenging events, but they are just events and they are not who we are. They're here for our learning, our advancement, our evolution, but we don't identify with failure or loss or catastrophe. We're way more powerful than that. The universe, our spirit team did not put us here and set us up for failure. We are challenged. This is an obstacle course, but we're not set up for failure. We're set up to win, but we have to know that. So again, keeping more plants in your home. I just went and got a bunch of bamboo, and I don't know what that plant is called over there, but I got some flowers and stuff too. So bringing more nature into your home. Drinking lots susceptible to the virus because you're just constantly flushing your system. So at least a gallon of water, work your way up to it. I like to do it in sections. I start off my morning right after I brush my teeth. I'll have 32 ounces, and then I'll do my meditation practice, and I'll have another 32 ounces. Then I'll have my breakfast, do some work. Before lunch, I'll have another 32 ounces, and then I will have another 32 ounces before dinner. So 4 liters is a gallon. 3.78 liters is a gallon. But do what works for you. Some people like to have the gallon and kind of mark it off, but I'm not lugging around that big old thing. So drinking water. They've also said that there are golden opportunities within this shift and in the time. So this made me think about the eclipses that are coming up in the summer. And first, I believe. So if you have to Aquarius, but Saturn is the ancient ruler of Aquarius. So he actually, I think I got unstable connection. Let's see. Okay, I think we're back. Let me know if I checked the last time too. But anyways, what was I talking about? Golden opportunities within the shift and in the time to come. So we have some time. So March, April, May, we've got about, it's unstable again. We've got about 2.5 months before we move into eclipse season again to make the adjustments that we need to make. And I feel like we're going to know as the days and weeks go on where we need to make shifts. So we take this one day at a time. That's all we can do. Every day we're getting news that this has changed. We can do this, we can do that. So let's just pay attention, be informed, but not be inundated. The last message that they gave me was to watch how Gaia reorganizes herself. And this gave me chills because it's like, we, especially me being vegan, excuse me, I'm so concerned about the planet and sustainability and all those different things. But what Spirit has told me was that Gaia has had her plan all along, that all of the events that have occurred, all of the animal extinctions, the pollution, the desecration of the ozone, that this was all orchestrated, even though it seems to us that these are unnecessary catastrophes, unnecessary things that we as human beings have done to this planet. Grand lesson that we as human beings are a part of our environment. So this coronavirus, in essence, is a part of the manifestation of the destructive energies that we have cultivated on this planet. Remember that energy is going to take the path of least resistance. And there's a whole lot of things and levels that we can talk about energy on. But when it comes to balance and ecosystems and survival of the fittest, what if this is a message from Gaia like, okay, you human beings have created so much imbalance on this planet. It's time for me to wipe some of y'all out. Now, this is a very broad perspective. This is speaking in very spiritual terms, not in, humanitarian type of energy at all. I'm just speaking, in terms of the grand scheme of things, how we fit into nature and ecology and the ecosystem, which we've definitely disrupted for millennia, right? I mean, there's been so many documentaries put out that the world would thrive if human beings were not here. So let's, again, I'll bring this back to focus. I kind of digressed there. Yeah, I believe this is a warning for humanity. I do too. Like I said, the summer, particularly July, August timeframe, we're going to see some very interesting developments in the collective. I've been getting some messages. A lot of them haven't made sense. So I've been kind of just writing them down, and I'm hoping to share them with you soon because they're very interesting, but they're just, I really have to just take some time to dissect them. So before I sign off, I want to pull some cards. I'm feeling guided to do this on Wednesday nights now. And I'm really feeling like Wednesdays are going to turn into more channeled messages. So maybe we'll try different times. I'm not sure. But I just wanted to be obedient to spirit. So let's start with the spirit animals deck. You can see that. So let's get some guidance for this week. Let's see what animal shows up and gives us a message. I love working with spirit animals because a lot of times there are ancestors and spirit guides, and they usually have very direct and practical, meaningful messages for us. A lot of times our higher self, it speaks to us in riddles, right? And we're just kind of like, what? And it takes us time to kind of pick it apart and like, oh, we get another epiphany, and then something else comes in and we're like, oh, okay, now that makes sense. But with spirit animals, it's usually a very direct message, and they're just like, look, this is what we got for you. Take it or leave it. So, all right, spirit, what do we need to know? What do we need to know? What is the takeaway for this strange, challenging, curious time, right? Investigative time. Just one more shuffle here. Let's see. What do we need to know, spirit? Ooh, the koi fish. Yes. Koi fish. There is always enough. What an important message. What a timely message. We know koi fishes represent prosperity. These are very expensive fish. I didn't realize that until the other day. I was just looking on I think it was Craigslist or something, and I saw somebody selling some koi fish, and I was just like, whoa, they're so expensive. So Spirit is telling me to read from the book, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Koi fish. And pardon me, I'm still kind of going through some upgrades here. They told me I'm not sick, and I don't feel sick. I definitely didn't have a lot of energy the other day, but okay. So hold this up so you can see it as I'm reading. The koi fish who grows big within a small pond reminds us that within each of us is the potential for prosperity. The law of abundance ensures that prosperity is our natural state. So, regardless of temporary outer conditions, you can call in prosperity and magnetically attract the opportunities and abundance you need. The message of koi fish spirit is to begin to generate wealth within. Yes, with deliberate intention, no matter how small your pond may seem, and appreciate abundance wherever you see it. Outer conditions will come to reflect your inner prosperity. Didn't I just say that? So begin to become the self who is comfortable with the wealth in all forms. Even if at the moment it feels as if riches are not yours, they soon will be. Start to envision the plenty that spirit wants you to experience, knowing that the moment you begin to commit to conscious and deliberate co-creating with spirit, you will joyfully start bringing in what you need. You have so much to offer and so much value to express to the world. Do not underestimate what you have. Trust that your outer conditions are changing to reflect that truth. Now, I like this deck too. Yeah, me too. I like this deck too because it also gives a protection message. So let's read that. Are you feeling a sense of scarcity, afraid you will not have enough and not be enough to meet the challenges you face? Whatever your outer conditions, they are temporary and reflecting what was set forth in the past. Remember what I said, the old has to go. Koi fish spirit is your ally in changing those conditions by transforming your inner beliefs about scarcity and plenty. Perhaps you have suffered a loss or are afraid you soon will, or you have been scraping by and feeling there are simply no opportunities available for you to better your circumstances. A lot of people are feeling that way right now. Koi fish asks you to find prosperity within you by connecting to spirit through your spiritual practices. What? Is that confirmation or what? Okay. Spirit wants to remind you that your natural state is one of abundance. Remember that all you have to offer. Remember all that you have to offer so that you can generate your own opportunities, love relationships, and even more. As you give to others, your own sense of prosperity grows and your outer conditions begin to shift in an alchemical reaction. Prosperity and love are yours to receive, experience, and enjoy. Believe it. Believe it. All right. So, wow, spirit really came through tonight. And like I said, I think I'm going to be on this theme every Wednesday night. And when I do my self-love Sunday, I've been getting a lot of messages, and I want to make sure that whatever is meant for the collective gets put out there. Because I feel like a lot of people are sitting on messages. There's a lot of you out there that need to record some videos because Spirit's giving you some information that we need. Okay. So again, thank you so much for watching. I hope everybody is doing well. I pray everybody is doing well. And we're going to get through this. We're made for this. We're ready for this, light warriors. There's no need for us to fear. And yeah, I will speak to you again soon. Again, my energy update is up for the week, and I will be back on track next week. Thank you so much for your patience. I have sent out several private readings already. I have a couple I need to finish, and then I'm going to open my calendar back up starting next week. I've kind of changed the format of how I do my readings. I've changed my website again. So I'm getting all of these messages from Spirit to make these adjustments. So I'm just going with the flow. You know, you just got to go with the flow. All right. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Stay safe, stay well, and I'll speak to you again soon. Namaste.